Welcome to the intermittent fasting webinar. I am so excited for tonight. I think there's going to be a lot of you on here. It's going to be an amazing topic to go through. I love intermittent fasting, and Dr. Michael and I both have lived this lifestyle for a really long time. But I recently have studied it again and again and again. And I have to give credit where credit is due. And that's Dr. Mindy Pelz. And she has absolutely helped me understand, especially for women, the importance of fasting, what it does for your body. So no matter if you're a man or a woman on this webinar tonight, you are going to learn amazing things about what it means to fast. I am going to tell you, though, that our men, when I get to the women part, please do not just shut off or not listen anymore. And there's two reasons for it. One, if you don't have a girlfriend yet or a wife, one day you might, and you guys are not the same. And so you can't fast the same. So I don't want you to say, just do what I do. And it really can affect her hormones. And that is not a good thing. The other reason is that some of you might have kids and little girls that grow up, and they might want to fast or do something like that. And I want you to be empowered as a man to be able to help us women know that we can't just do it like you guys do. And I know that sometimes that's what's been told. And so even if you are here and you might have just nudged your husband next to you to be like, I told you so. We're going to walk through what that looks like. Just please don't shut off. But if you are here, I can see about how many people are here, but I actually don't know who is on. So if you want to say, hey, in the comments that you are here, I'd love that. I do love these webinars because you guys get to watch in the comfort of your own home, or if you're driving, just be safe wherever you are. I just would love to see you guys in person. I would love to do this more in person with all of you, but just say, hey, in the comments. I can see them. And we will go through. Now, I also am going to spend time at the end going through questions. So if you have questions that come up, please write them in the chat. So then that way I can answer those at the end if we don't go through them in the next. I'm really trying for half an hour, 45 minutes, but I doubt that will happen. So just plan that you're going to be here for about an hour, because I know there can be a lot of questions. The other thing, I'm not going to answer questions for your specific scenario. If you do have questions for your specific health issue or health problem, if that kind of a question comes up, I will give you my email at the end, and please reach out to me that way. And if you are a current patient, we can set up a time, a consult together so we can walk through your specific case. But general questions, absolutely will do that. So what am I going to go through tonight? I'm going to go through what happens when your body fasts. I'm going to go through what are the benefits of fasting, the 7 different types of fasting, how long you should fast, how to start fasting, how to break your fast, and then I will end with women, you specifically, and how to support your hormones. And then at the very end, I will do a couple hacks that really do help your body navigate through fasting and some of the things that can come up. And then I'll answer all the questions at the end. Okay? All right. Here we go. Great. Good. Oh. Hi, Liza. Hi, Paige. Hi, Key. Hi, Susan. So many of you. Hey, Chad. Hello, Dallas, Amanda, Eli. All right, great. Let's go ahead and get started. Woods family, I see you. Trisha, I see you. All right. So what is fasting? That's where I'm going to start, because I know we're talking intermittent fasting, but there's a lot of different types of what fasting is. And it's a deliberate, abstaining from food and sometimes fluid for a period of time. And this is, I'm primarily going through a therapeutic purpose for this, when it comes to your health. Now, fasting has been around though for thousands of years, but mainly for religious or spiritual practices. For instance, our church right now at the very beginning of the year, we're on day 2 of a 3-day fast. So we're doing it more for a spiritual focus than we are a health and therapy purpose. Now, I'm talking more that today. So all therapeutic purpose, health purposes, But here's the thing, the reason it's been around for a long time, and you may not have even realized it, but maybe you have, that is where the word and the term breakfast comes from. It's the actual fast or breaking of a fast, which is done every single day in our bodies. We do it all the time. We are already doing fasting, like when we go to bed at night and we're not eating anything and we break that fast in the morning. Now, research itself right now has gone wild with how fasting has allowed us to like change our physiology, like from our cells. It changes how we age. It changes the disease processes inside of our body. Our overall health is affected from fasting in an incredible way. And I've seen it in my own life. And then I've been able to see it in a lot of our patients' lives, like being able to like not only lose weight, but change symptoms, change the condition, change their health. And they have benefited by simply just fasting. Now, we're going to go through a couple different kinds of fasts and like also research with it. But how would you know if you should be fasting? Like if you are struggling to go more than 4 hours without food, it's time to really start to get a metabolic reset, and fasting can do that. And I know some of the biggest hurdles that people have when they're trying to like get well or heal their body or lose weight, whatever it might be, like the biggest hurdles are time and money. And fasting is going to take care of both of those things. So what happens to your body when you fast? You can see all of that right there. I put words on it, but I didn't want to put a whole lot of words. Just the very beginning. And if you want to screenshot that, you can. So then that way you have it. You can always go back and watch these webinars if you want more information again and again and again. But here's the thing. When you don't eat, so when you're not consuming food, when you're not consuming calories, your body now looks for food. So the way that it looks for food is it goes primarily to find sugar at first, sugar or glucose. That is how your body's going to create the energy that it needs, not just in an energy standpoint of like, I'm awake, but like being able to generate energy from like your heart beating, your lungs breathing. It's going to go find glucose for the sugar and this, or glucose and sugar for the cells to be able to do that. Now, once your body uses up all of the sugar that is stored inside of your body, your whole metabolism changes. So then your body begins to go find fat. So sugar is the primary source, but what makes it even better is when it can go find fat. When it goes and finds fat for energy, this is a very good thing. This is the place that we want our metabolism to be. We want to be fat burners, you guys, not sugar burners. So we have to use up all of that extra sugar stored in our body so our body can then get to fat. You can see the excess fat stored. So that's the stuff that's around your body. Like that is the majority of what fat storage looks like. So when your body transitions into being a fat burner, this is when your body now begins to make what's called ketones. And ketones are even a better source for your body to have energy from. This is a state of what's called ketosis. So when you get into this place of ketosis, this is when you can really start to see the changes of what fasting can do for your body. And here is just a list. Like that is a massive list of what can be benefits of fasting. Now, not all of these happen with every fast that there is. Like it depends, and you have to use this as a lifestyle in order for your body to be able to fast enough and long enough to be able to heal from literally everything that you see right there. Significant health benefits, you guys. Like the research is insane, like from obesity to diabetes to sleep apnea to even some types of cancer to Alzheimer's disease to arthritis to asthma to MS to IBS and other like autoimmune issues, like all that you see right there. And we're going to walk through a few of them. So there's 7 different types of fasting. Now, each of these 7 different types of fasts have significantly different benefits. That's why when this is so big, is because the different types of fasting, what you do is contributing to those benefits. So if you're wondering like, how long should I fast and like, what should that look like? The answer will depend on what type of a benefit that you're trying to achieve on which fast that you're going to pick. So let's walk through them. Intermittent fasting. This is the one that is most well known. But intermittent fasting itself, this is when you extend the length of your fasting so you won't eat to 13 to 15 hours. So that means if you go to bed, I'm going to do my best with math. If you go to bed at 7 p.m., 12 hours later would be 7 a.m. So that means you wouldn't eat breakfast until 8, 9, or 10 a.m. That is where you're doing intermittent fasting. Some of you might be like, oh, I do that already. And that's why we do recommend every day. And I mean it, like every day there is not fasting for 13 to 15 hours. Most of you already, probably on average, you fast for 12 hours a day from breakfast to dinner. And what you want to do if you're going to start to intermittent fast is you want to change your breakfast time. So that would mean if you stopped eating at 7 and then you usually eat breakfast at 7 a.m. the next day, you would move it to 8 a.m. And you would do that for 5 to 7 days. And then you would go and you'd change it to 9 a.m. And then you'd change it to 10 a.m. There's so many benefits from just doing intermittent fasting this way for 13 to 15 hours and making this a lifestyle. Like they did an article in the New England Journal of Medicine, and they were talking about benefits of intermittent fasting. And when you do this on average, it contributes to like healthy living. So they took this whole entire group of people to see which one were healthy and which one were not. All they did was change their timing of their food, and they got healthier and healthier and healthier, the ones that would do intermittent fasting on a regular basis. So we recommend doing this every day. So this is the easiest one to start with. It is the one that we recommend starting off with first. Then autophagy. This has been researched pretty significantly recently. Autophagy, what this means is your body starts to eat unhealthy things. So let's walk through that for just a second. But extending your length of fasting window to 16 to 18 hours. This is the sweet spot. So there's this book called Glow 15, and she talks about autophagy fasting in there. And this is the sweet spot for most people. So breaking your fast with proper nutrition, however, when you go farther into fasting, is a must. And it's pretty great for a lot of people, even women. But women, I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. But what this does is it keeps your blood sugar stable. It curbs your hunger, and it can allow you to go even another 3 to 4 hours without eating. Now, when you do this, like autophagy itself, let me go back to just making sure I have the right notes on the autophagy because I put it in a different spot. So what it means is it means self-eating. So your body cleans out any damaged cells in order to regenerate newer, healthier cells. So when autophagy is activated inside of your body, it's like a fast track to healing. And it slows down the aging process in your body. It also helps trigger, like when you do this, it's triggering this just magical process that your body already does. It accelerates healing, and it gets your body to naturally repair itself. And this is only changing the timing that you eat your food. Crazy. We're going to talk about breaking your fast with proper nutrition in a minute, but this is a must if you're going to extend your fasts out. You can't just eat whatever you want. When you get longer out, it can affect the health of your body. Now, there is another fast called dinner to dinner. And it's just as it sounds, that you would fast from dinner tonight until dinner tomorrow morning. So there's a term that's coined in obesity. The Dr. Fung, he writes the book called The Obesity Code, and it's OMAD, and that just means 1 meal a day. So there is some fasting where you do 1 meal a day. However, do not suggest this if it's for therapeutic and health purposes. Like, I would not do this until you've been comfortable with doing intermittent fasting and then moving into the autophagy, and then you can move into something like dinner to dinner. But this is a great fast to do 1 to 2 days a week once you get normalized to intermittent fasting. You can drink water, and coffee maybe is okay. I'll talk about that at the end because it can change your blood sugar levels. And so it depends on you. That's why it's in a maybe. Everybody's body is completely different, but it's important to remember, like, once your body gets activated into autophagy and you are getting into that fasting things, the longer that you fast, the more that your body will reach those stored areas of fat so it can burn fuel and then create more of those ketones that your body can have for energy instead of just burning sugar all the time. Next, dry fasting. So I've never done this one, but dry fasting is something newer where you don't drink any water or liquids, also no food with this. And I know this might seem a little bit contradictory, but the recommendations are never to go more than 24 hours. So it is 12 to 24 hours, never ever more than 24 hours. Now, this is more for those of you that are experts at fasting, but there's a lot of reasons that this is a good thing for some. Research shows that it can decrease inflammation and increase BDNF. So what is BDNF? BDNF is like a fertilizer for your brain. When you incorporate dry fasting into like a weekly diet variation, those of you that want better brain clarity, improved memory, better mobility, this would be one that you could do. But it is more for experts. I will stress that it is more for experts. You don't just do this and you go a max of 12 to 24 hours. Now, this is one that is becoming more and more popular. 36 to 48 hour water fast. So the whole purpose of this is to keep insulin down in your body so that it can go after more of that stored sugar and into the stored fats of your body. One of Dr. Fung, who wrote the Obesity Code, one of his strategies for helping those to release long-standing weight is to fast for these longer times. So some of you that have tried everything, some of you that just like you can't lose weight, it just stays right there, you've plateaued, this is a great fast to do to get your body out of that plateau and start it into that losing weight process. If you're extremely weight loss resistance, implementing specifically that 36-hour fast on a regular basis, weekly, can help you break through that weight loss resistance. One of the cool things about this is that stem cells are released in a 36 to 48 hour water fast. It's crazy. Stem cells, they're your repair cells. So when you are wanting to repair your body, especially of those of you that are older or you've hurt yourself or you have just chronic issues with your knees and your joints, that's musculoskeletal injuries, you can help your body be able to heal those areas by starting to cycle a 36-hour fast into your weekly fasting lifestyle. 3 to 5 day water fast. This is what Dr. Michael and I do. We're doing a 3-day fast right now. We're doing liquids, not just straight water. But this, when you're going longer, so when you go to those 3 to 5 days, this is when you start to see those amazing benefits into the immune system and then chronic issues and problems. It does amazing things for your immune system. We had a patient, and she came in today and she talked to me about she's just been sick and she has this cough and it's like going down, and I just text her and I was like, fast for the rest of the day, fast tomorrow, like fast so that your body can get over what's happening. They've even done research with COVID and fasting. And so if those of you are still having like issues with COVID, fast, fast, fast. It will do amazing, amazing things for your immune system. This is recommended though, only to really do, you can do them at max, like once a month. At minimum, you can do the quarterly. I mean, you could also do it once a year if you wanted to, but like quarterly to once a month is where you want to do this. This will start to trigger your body's own healing process. This, however, is for advanced fasters. Again, this is for advanced fasters. So if you've mastered all the other types of fasts and you're ready to try a longer fast, this is a great one to do. Dr. Mindy Pelz is doing a 3-day water fast starting on January 8th. You can go to her website. It's literally everywhere. You can go to her Instagram and it's free, and you can get all more information, guidance when it comes to doing your own 3 to 5 day water fast. Now, the last one, it's called fast mimicking. So it was popularized, we can see, by Volter from the longevity diet. And in his studies, he showed that if you limited calories and protein in your diet, it would force your body to release those stem cells or those repair cells. The reason I would ever recommend somebody doing a fast mimicking one is if you wanted the benefits of a longer fast, but you also wanted to eat food, you could do this one. It's designed to like get the fasting like effects, but what you're doing is you're keeping your carbs, your proteins, and your calorie intake low and your fat intake high. So this is a very high fat, low everything, low protein, low carbs. And I don't love it because I don't want you, it feels like more of like a starving type of a thing. So it's not something that you would do long term, but it can help your body if you just can't quite get to like the no eating. But I would much rather you do something where you are like slowly decreasing your food eating intake and increasing your fasting window slower than to do this one right here. Now, let me just double check to see if there's any questions from, okay, good. Learning a lot. Edna's learning a lot. Hi, Jordan. Hi, Hannah. I love it. Oh, she said hi to Amanda and Danny too. Hi, Griffiths. Good to see you, Lakeisha. Okay. So how long should you fast for? It depends. Once you get to that space of going through the intermittent fasting and gradually getting longer and longer and longer, the longer you fast, the more benefits add up. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that longer is better for everyone. So, for example, like if you're hoping to increase your ketones, like this is not talking about women yet. Like if you are hoping to increase your ketones, a 17-hour fast might be what you need. However, if you're trying to heal like musculoskeletal stuff, like in your joints, or like heal a disease process or help with your immune system, you'll want to work your way up to more of a 72-hour fast. So it depends on what you are wanting to accomplish. Now, I love this timeline because it walks through what happens in your body. So when you see that intermittent fasting, so I talked a little bit about it, but like seeing what happens the longer that you're able to get your body to go. And this isn't like forcing, this isn't starvation, but in that 13 to 15 hour intermittent fasting, you can see like, this is where, if you're new to fasting, this is where you want to start. At 13 hours of fasting, your body will secrete growth hormone. The growth hormone assists in your body being able to burn fat. It also helps to slow the aging process in your body. So if you're really looking for like anti-aging, this is the level that you want to fast at. Now, 15 hours, so going a little bit longer into the 15 hours, this is when most people, you're going to start to really make ketones in your body. So ketones are not only a sign of like your body moving into a greater metabolism and more energy producing ketones. It is a sign that your liver is moved in from burning sugar to burning fat for energy. So this is a great sign that your body is switching into exactly what it needs to do. Also, you guys, ketones, they are neuroprotective. They protect your brain and your nervous system. And as a chiropractor, you know, I couldn't be more excited for you all to be in a neuroprotective state in your body by not only getting adjusted, but changing into more of a fasting state and a fasting lifestyle. And it will go up to your brain and it will give you energy and better mental clarity when your body is in that 15-hour fasted state. Now, 17 hours to 24-hour fasting. So when this happens, you're going to get into things like cellular repair, detox, cancer prevention, gut repair. It also aids with anxiety and depression, brain and memory loss. So when you reach that 17-hour mark without eating, you will start to stimulate that autophagy. What this means is that the intelligence of your cells, it already does this, but that intelligence will now be turned on and your body's able to repair itself. This is best for people that have autoimmune conditions in that 17-hour mark. Now, 24 hours. At 24 hours, this is where your intestinal cells, they reboot. So they reset at 24 hours, your intestines. And you can also see it says GABA production. GABA is a neurotransmitter known to relax your brain and help with anxiety. Our gut health is incredibly important in preventing any type of autoimmune issue and also aiding in weight loss. So gosh, it's just so powerful, isn't it, guys? It's just crazy. By changing the timing of when we eat, it matters so much to our bodies. All right, 36 hours. Let's say I'm in 36 hours. I'm almost at 48 hours. In 36 hours, so the more you fast, the more it forces your body to burn glucose, sugar, insulin, and any toxins that are stored inside of your fat. You know, I always say that it is better to have fat around your muscles than around your organs. And the length of your fast, it will actually force your body to burn that glucose and the insulin. So this is where at 36 to 48 hours, this is where you really start to see fat loss, anti-aging, and an increase in dopamine, which is your happy, I love my life hormone. 48 hours. 48 hours, this is when you really start to see that dopamine reset. So it resets the dopamine receptor sites in your brain. So if you're feeling like your happiness level is not where it needs to be, this is where you need to be. 48 hours doing a dopamine reset fast. Immunity, 72 hours. It's so crazy going through it literally right now as we speak. I didn't even plan it that way. It happened. And I was like, God, thank you for that. Because I can really oh my gosh, this is what's happening in my body right now. And I can focus more on that than the fact of I'm not eating right now. But at 72 hours, this is a 3-day fast. And sometimes at 3 days, and I haven't been there, but I've done it before, is you feel like you just don't know what to do anymore. What's happening? But these fasts are used for people with severe injuries, diagnoses. You want to reboot your whole immune system. This is where healing begins. At 72 hours, those stem cells for your immune system, they are regenerating, as well as stem cell production for your joints. All of that, this is when you really start to see accelerated healing, is at that 72-hour mark. incredible, incredible. So how do you start this process? Number one, create a fasting window. Of course, and I've said it, I don't know how many times, but fasting can be addicting. It can be sometimes confused with you're starving yourself. That is not true at all. So if you are a beginner, I am going to say it again. Please start with intermittent fasting. Start with that 13 to 15 hour mark. If you've been doing it for a while, now it's time for you to start to do that 16 to 18 hours. And for some of you, it's time to really get into maybe a 24 to 36 hour fast. Take a look at how long you are fasting currently. And then try to extend that fasting window by 1 to 2 hours. So I talked about before, taking and pushing back your breakfast time back an hour, or moving your dinner up earlier. So if you usually eat at 7:30, maybe trying to eat at 6:30 if that allows. Some of you, that dinner time doesn't really change because like the time that you get off and like go to work and do all of that, but it might be able to change the way that when you do breakfast. One of the things that has really helped me, all of these are optional, but to help you to know if you are, I was looking for my phone. I downloaded the Zero app, and it's a really great app to help you like track where your fasting window is. I bought the version because women, you'll see when we get to the end why I bought the version. My one right now is that I'm on day 2 of this. So it goes into red and then it'll tell you, and it'll turn green. It says, my goal tomorrow, since I set it at 7:20 p.m. 2 days ago, right now I'm on 46 hours and 42 minutes of liquids. But tomorrow at 7:20, it says I can eat because I've met my 72-hour goal. But you can put in exactly what you want. You want 13 hours, you want 15 hours. The reason I bought it is because you can customize it to different days and what that looks like. So that's why I did. But it's a great app to start off with. You don't need to buy what I did, but you can use it as a great, so it doesn't be like, when did I eat? What time do I eat? And you're using your fingers and you're trying to add up the math of when you can eat. The other thing that you can do, and I'll talk about it at the end, is you can start measuring your ketones. Like if you want to know if you are in ketosis, you can measure your ketones. The one that we found, it's $45. I just looked, it's $44.99, and it actually might even be on sale. I think there might be like a 20% off sale. It's Keto Mojo, exactly as it sounds. Keto Mojo. It looks like this. It has a pricker. It's a blood test, so it checks to see what your ketones are. It has markers that you stick inside of there. You test your ketones to see where you're at, to know if your body is truly in a fasted state and producing those ketones. The other thing that you can do is you can watch and use Carb Manager. It's another app as well where you can, when I get to the end, you'll be able to see where you want your carbs to be, your fats and your proteins on certain days of your cycle. So for those of you that like to track, I don't track. I mean, maybe I will one day as I just continue to learn more about my body, but I did for a little bit. I haven't in a while, but those of you that like to track, Carb Manager app is a great one, and we'll walk through what that would look like as well. When you are fasting and creating that fasting window, water is fine, coffee is fine, tea is fine, all black though, all with nothing inside of it. Some of you could use MCT oil, but you have to measure your ketones and you need to see where you're at before you do those types of things. Now, once you create that fasting window of where you want to start, step 2 is then to increase your fasting window to that 13 to 15 mark. So once you're comfortably fasting at 13 to 15 hours, you can start to streamline your macros a little bit if you want to get into those types of things. I'll wait, but it's like you want to keep, no, I won't. You want to keep your macros to 50 net carbs, but also under 50 net carbs of protein, with 60% of your food coming from healthy fats. So that's if you want to like measure your carbs and what that is. I don't like to get into it because I don't do that a whole lot. But if you want to talk about it, you can absolutely reach out to me and we can walk through what that looks like. Then step 3 is to increase your fasting window, and I put to 17 plus hours. So you've made it to that autophagy fasting stage, still staying with your carbs, all of that, and mastering. Once you master that autophagy phase, then you might want to move into that dinner to dinner, 36 hours, or a 3 to 5 day water fast. But this is how you begin, okay? Questions on that part? Great. I've heard and read multiple times that when you don't eat for a long time, your body doesn't know when it's going to eat again, so it stores fat. So that's not true. With women, it can be. So that's why I'm going to walk through that key. So short periods of time, majority of people can absolutely afford to fast. There's enough stored fat. There's enough sugar in their bodies that it absolutely can. But the reason that would ever happen is because the hormones are not supported. And then your body can then start to build fat instead of burn fat. But some of you don't even want to burn fat off of your body. Like it's more of like a healing thing. Like some of you shouldn't be burning fat off of your body, but you need to support your hormones. And there's certain amounts of time when you need to do that and when you don't need to do that. So I'm going to go through that at the end. That's a great question. So how do you break your fast? So you've created your window. Here's what you're going to do. Slow and easy. I'm going to walk through how you break a shorter fast and how you break a longer fast. But in general, slow and easy. You really want to avoid any carbs or foods that spike insulin and blood sugar, like just sugar itself. So things like bone broths, high fat foods like avocados, olives, nut butters, those are a really great way to break a fast. You don't want to break your fast with pizza or like your favorite meal that you've missed after 3 days of church fasting, and then all of a sudden you just go eat whatever. That is not a good idea. And I know that from experience. I'm not just saying that from like, I know that from like a health standpoint. Like Dr. Michael and I, when we used to do, when we started it, we would do like days of fasting and then we would just go eat pizza. And it's like, why do we do that? So let's walk through what this looks like. There's 4 different steps here, okay? If you're going to break a shorter fast, this is anything 24 hours or less. This is how you want to break that fast. Number 1, if you want to kill hunger and you're trying to extend your fast and go longer, so let's say that you're trying to do a 3-day water fast or go a little bit longer than 24 hours, 36, 72, and you're just like, I need to like keep this going. The way that you can break this is with a good, you want to extend your fast. Sorry, I said that a little bit wrong. If you're at 13 hours and you're wanting to go to like 14 or 15 and you're trying to push it and you're trying to go a little bit longer, you want to break that with a good fat. So things like MCT oil, grass-fed ghee and butter, avocados, nut butters, fat bombs, or you can buy these things at the store called keto cups. I've only seen them at Whole Foods, or you can buy them on the internet, but they're literally called keto cups, and they're a fat bomb. So they're made with good, healthy fats, and you can have one of those, and it can extend your fast a little bit longer, won't break your fast. Number 2, if you're really looking to like build more muscle, but also incorporate intermittent fasting as a lifestyle, you want to break your fast with protein, especially after like a high intensity interval training workout. Protein only though. So like strictly eggs, meat. So more muscle equals faster metabolism. Number 3, if you want to keep your energy high, you're like, I feel great. This feels awesome. Like I want to keep my energy going. Then you break it with liquid. This keeps your energy up using things like bone broth or a greens powder, like a greens first, like the chocolate, the berry, the original that we have in our office. Break it with liquids. Number 4, if you really are looking at healing your gut, you're like, I just want to heal my gut. And you can do that through fasting and having that lifestyle. But then when you need to eat, what do you eat? Break it with probiotic foods. So replenish it. It replenishes your gut bacteria. It will also help you lose weight. And then using things like sauerkraut, kimchi, yogurt, kefir, those kombucha, like those are great things to break your fast with whatever you're trying to do. So this is why I love fasting so much, is it's for everyone. And it's like you can customize it to what you want for your life and what you're trying to do in your body. There is no one size fits all fasting program. Okay. What if you want to break a longer fast? This is a little bit different. So if you are doing, like for us, after 3 days, we are doing some bone broth. So we'll switch then to the probiotic food with fat. But anything longer than 24 hours. So those of you that go to church with us and you're fasting right now, listen up, okay? 4-step process. The first thing, bone broth. Why is this so important? Because it contains glycine, and that helps your body repair the inner lining of your gut. So any type of like leaky gut issues, you want to choose broth to start off with, because you're doing all this stuff, yes, for God and like spiritual, but you're also helping your body to be able to process that through your health. And so what a great time to really introduce something that will help heal your gut. So you can choose any broth that you want. If you know that you have some gut healing to do this. Do this, okay? If you are vegetarian or vegan, vegetable broth is completely fine. Your digestive system has literally been shut off for several days. So introducing a solid food right away can be difficult for your body. So then you wait an hour after you do bone broth, and then you introduce a probiotic food with fat. Refeeding the gut with good bacteria. Oh, so good. Sauerkraut, kombucha, fermented yogurt, kefir, kimchi. You can also introduce healthy fats with it as well. So the olives, the avocado, the nut butters, like allowing that at the same time. Like you don't eat sauerkraut with nut butter, but like that sounds terrible. But like a bowl of olives or like an avocado on top of the sauerkraut, like whatever floats your boat, but you can add those in an hour later after bone broth. Then an hour after those food, you're going to want to make some steamed veggies. Now your body's ready to add a little bit of fiber in. It got some bone broth to help. It's got some probiotics in it. Now let's add some fiber in it. Fiber feeds good bacteria. So this is the point though, that for some of you, you're going to gain some insight on what's happening in your microbiome and inside of your belly and your gut. If you hit this step and you get bloated by eating that afterwards, you know that you have some more gut repair that needs to be done in your body. So what that means is all that you're going to do is add in a few 24-hour gut resets. So going back to that timeline, add in more 24-hour gut reset fasts into your lifestyle. Do not do raw vegetables. It's too much fiber at first, and it can be pretty hard for your digestive tract to break down right now. Lightly steam them. You can drizzle some like good olive oil on it. Like you can put some salt on it. I wouldn't season it a whole lot. I do like when after fasting for a longer period of time to do like a small sweet potato. Purple sweet potatoes are really good for doing after a longer fast. It feeds the good bacteria in the lower part of your intestinal tract. You could even use like grass-fed butter if you wanted to, since you've already introduced some fat in step 2. Himalayan sea salt. You want some good fat, some minerals inside of your body. And then an hour later, this is where you can add in some protein. So your body's ready now for an animal protein or a plant protein. If you are looking to build muscle, be sure to have at least 30 grams at your first meal. If you want to stay though in that autophagy phase, or your body's just healing, you want to keep it under 20 grams. Don't go any higher than 20 grams. If you want to build muscle, make sure it's about 30 grams. People also ask, like, can I have a full meal? Like at this point, like it's been 4 hours, like after I fasted. The answer is yes. At step 4, like it's not just protein that you're eating. You can have a full meal if you want. But if you eat meat too early, you can be miserable. The big part about breaking your fast, just in general, I want you to be intentional. Be intentional about that first food that goes into your mouth. The more strategic that you are about how you break your fast, the quicker your health results will come. This isn't just about eating and then not eating and then eating and not eating. There is a strategy to this, and your health you'll see the results in your health when you do that. Is there ever a time where you shouldn't fast or stop your fasting? Yep, absolutely. If you're testing your ketones, if they get above 8, you need to stop. That's when your body starts to break down muscle, and you don't want to be doing any of that. If your blood sugar drops below 40, this also tests your blood sugar, so it's blood sugar and ketones. If it drops below 40, no, we can't. Like, I think about when I tell people about sugar, I'm like, your body still needs sugar in order for it to do the things that it needs to do. So you can't just like not eat sugar. So like, but not refined sugar and bad sugars is what I'm saying. Everything has a little bit of it in it, depending on what you're eating. Okay. If you're not feeling well, if you get any type of dizziness, you feel so fatigued, you feel lethargic, you like are just like, I can't do this. Like, you should stop fasting. That is not what fasting is. Like, you don't need to be so miserable. However, if you kind of start to feel a little bit of fatigue, or like you're like more tired than normal, that is okay. Try drinking some salt water, or take a mineral supplement like Ultima LMNT. Take something like that to see if you just need to get your minerals up and balance those out. If you have any of these issues, adrenal fatigue, you have any type of really complicated health condition, or women the week before your menstrual cycle, proceed with caution. Proceed with caution. It doesn't mean that you can't do it. It means that you have to do it the right way. Okay? This is what I'm talking about. So this is where I shouldn't see a number drop on that thing. Then you are still a part of this conversation. So we're very clear that fasting heals our bodies. It is so good for our bodies. However, there is one huge blind spot. A one-size-fits-all approach to fasting does not work. It doesn't exist, especially for women. Do women fast differently than men? Yes. Yes, 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 yes. So I'm going to walk through this. It's going to get a little bit nerdy for a second, but the reason has to do with hormones. And I'm not just only talking about like estrogen, progesterone, and all of that. I'm talking about, there's hormones called gonadotropin releasing hormone, GRH. This hormone regulates the activity of your reproductive organs. So in women, GRH, that function is coordinated for good reasons though, but it decides the cycles and the schedule of your ovulation. What happens though? GRH, even just a change in your routine. Some of you know, if you've tracked your ovulation, and if you were stressed out, or you were traveling, or something was happening, your ovulation is affected. Fasting can destabilize GRH. And that's why it's more discomforting though for women than it is for men. There's also a protein. It's called kisspeptin. This protein is higher in women, and it's very sensitive to fasting. So fasting not only affects like how we would ovulate, the GRH, but it also affects our metabolism too. It can affect that kisspeptin. There's also even some studies that have been done in our nervous systems, and it the nervous systems between men and women. Men, you guys become calm when you fast. You go into this like parasympathetic state. On the other hand, women, we can become stressed when we fast, especially when we do it in the wrong timing of our cycles. And we can go into this like fight or flight response when we fast. So, however, should women fast even though these things can happen? The answer is yes. Women, we can still fast. However, some of you need to do it under the guidance of your doctor. One of it might be me, because your medical doctor probably doesn't even know what that is. So if you need help with that, please reach out. But this is what I'm going to walk through right now. Okay. How should we fast differently? We need to fast around our menstrual cycle. Look at this chart. So this is on an average cycle is 28 days. Nobody needs to always be at 28 days. Some of you, your cycle is 32 days. Some of you, your cycle is 34 days. And guess what? That's normal. That is totally fine. But what happens is women, we need estrogen and we need progesterone. Those are our main hormones for our menstrual cycle. They're the main ones. Now, GRH, remember, that stimulates the production of our sex hormones. So what happens though, you can see it looks, estrogen is in that blue and it goes up during ovulation. And then the big one, progesterone, that big red one comes up at the end of our cycle. And so we want to be able to support all that. So we have so many different changes throughout our cycle that we need to be able to support them and not do the opposite. Now, how would you know if you have low sex hormones as a woman? Like, because is your GRH low, insulin, is glucose, like what does that look like? You might have things like hot flashes, insomnia, your hair is falling out, belly weight, anxiety. And if you notice these symptoms in your body, there is a way out when it comes to fasting around your cycle. So how do you fast around your cycle? Well, there's 3 different fundamentally ways to be able to do this, because we all are cycling differently. We're all different ages. We're all in different hormone journeys when it comes to that. So those of you that do have a regular cycle, I put everything on here. So those of you can screenshot it, you can take a picture of it. So then that way you have it. But if you have a normal, like 28, I know it says a 28 day, but if it is like 32, 34, but you have a like regular cycle that comes pretty consistently, you know when you're going to start, like, you know, those types of things, you can fast as you want days 1 through 12. Some say 10 to 12, so day 1 through 10 to 12. At day 12 to 14, however, this is when estrogen is going to be at its highest peak. It is best not to fast during that. If you feel like you want to fast, you can absolutely maintain that 13 to 15 hour fasting. No big deal. I'm going to give you an example here. Once I go through all 3 of them, you'll take another picture of that one too. Then on day 21 to 28, this is when your progesterone peak is like super, super high. This side of fasting, this is where if you fast for too long, you can experience anxiety, shutdown of all hormones. Your progesterone won't go up. Your whole body just goes. So no fasting, none. So day 21, it's day 20 to 21 to when you start to bleed. No fasting. This is also a time where you'll increase your carb intake. So then that way you can improve that production of progesterone in your body, which is a big hooray. That is like calming. You won't feel as anxious. Your PMS symptoms will start to subside because you're going to support the progesterone instead of starving it. Here's an example. So for an example, day 1 through 5, you can do a 13 to 15 hour fast. Day 20 or day 6, you can do 24 hours. That's optional. Day 7 to 10, you could do 17 hours. You could do a 72-hour fast if you wanted to from days 1 to 10. I know I said day 1 to 12. It depends on how long your cycle is. But once you get into that phase where you're about to ovulate, days 11 to 15, 13 hours to 15 hours, no more. None. You want to have more healthy carbs, and that's on the next slide. I'll show you exactly what that looks like. More healthy carbs so that you can support ovulation. Now, day 16 to 19. So day 16, you could do a 24-hour one if you wanted to. You could do 15 to 17 hours. You could do a 72-hour one here if you wanted to. This is a time you can fast however you want to. Days 20, though, to bleeding, no fasting. You can do the 13 hours, that's fine, or you could do like 12. You could do 10. But no fasting whatsoever. This is a nurture phase. So for example, like if you were to get pregnant, progesterone goes up and you want to nurture. This is the phase of like ovulation, conception occurred, and then now there's a baby. So you want to support that. Healthy carbs to support progesterone at that time. So here's what it looks like. And this is the part where I was telling you, like, if you want to know your macros, it's in the upper right-hand corner. But days 1 to 10 and days 16 to 19, probiotic foods, these are what you want to eat and what that looks like, all right there. Days 11 to 15, days 20 to bleed, these are your hormone building days. This is when you're going to support what that looks like. You want to have more of those foods. If you go to Mindy Pell's, because some of you, I know you're going to ask me for these papers. I got them from Dr. Mindy. If you go to Dr. Mindy's website, it's under the you can sign up for Fasting 101. You can sign up for her Revolution. All of it's free. That's where I got it from. If you really don't want to do that, you can email me and say, hey, can you send them to me? And I'm totally fine with that. Whether you're watching live right now or you're watching later, you can email me. It's Dr. Cassie, DrCassie at majorfamilychiropractic.com. And I can send those to you. Now let's get into different aspects of this. So some of you are in a perimenopause state, and that's where your cycle is like, you don't know when it's coming. It could be whenever. It could be for 6 months. It could be whatever. And you're going into that phase. Some of you are in a perimenopause state and you are not in your 30s, 40s, or 50s. And you have this erratic menstrual cycle. And this part right here, when you are in this space, you want to stop ketosis and stop fasting for at least 7 days. Then you're going to increase your carb intake. If after that, though, because you want to support your progesterone, so you don't want your body to be into ketosis, you don't want to be in that fasting. Fasting can be 13 to 15 days. That is like totally fine, but no more of that. You can't do that for 7 days. Increase your intakes of those carbs and that hormone building side. If after that, you don't see your cycle, try this hormone reset formula. So 1 to 12 days, because you won't know when it is. So you just start whenever. So 1 to 12 days, fast. 12 to 14 days, hormone building. 14 to 21 days, fasting. Day 28, hormone building. So that is like moving into that cycle, the regular cycle, practicing that with the foods at the same time and the timing. Do those things and see you can see your period start to come back, start to regulate. It's crazy. Postmenopause. I am not here. I was talking to somebody today and I just want to be very clear. I am not here. I don't understand this part. But I do know that Dr. Mindy does. And there is a book called Menopause Reset. This is the book that I absolutely recommend if you are in menopause, starting to go through menopause, have a hysterectomy, like you have no hormones that you know of going through. This is the book that I want you to read because she's going to walk you through what that looks like. I can help you walk through it, but I would rather you read this first so you can understand like what's going on in your body. And then we can walk through steps to do that. So, however, after menopause, your ovaries shut down. They don't work anymore. And at this stage, your sex hormones are low. So fasting should be kept to a minimum. However, like intermittent fasting, you can do that all day long, but it's on a case-by-case basis. And those of you that are in the other part, this is Dr. Mindy's book that I love, and a lot of you know, I recommend it. It's called Fast Like a Girl, and you can walk through that. What I love too about this book is it walks through everything, and at the end, there are so many recipes for hormone feasting. So when we went back to this slide here, all of these things that you want to add into your diet, like she has them right here, like hormone feasting. And then she has, what do you do on the ketobiotic days? And she has recipes that would go with not just like, okay, so how do I fit all of this together? What do I need to make? She has recipes already there for you. Here's a few hacks, okay? Handling hunger. So if you are like, this is the big elephant in the room, if you will. Like if you are like, I'm starving. Well, there is a difference between am I starving or am I bored? And this depends on your metabolism and how flexible it is to get from sugar burner to fat burner. Number one, you have to decide though, am I hungry or am I bored? And it can be really hard to tell sometimes. Food is an emotional state changer. I know like when I eat, I'm just like, oh, it's so good. And it makes you happy, like for a moment, like that's what food can do. So knowing the difference can be helpful. So how you do that is like, first you want to do an activity that like boosts your mood up, that makes you happy. Like, whatever you like to do for fun, like go do that and then see what happens. Call your best friend, get a release of oxytocin, like be around people that you love and enjoy. Watch a funny movie. Sometimes you might even just need to take a nap for a minute. But try to elevate your food with, elevate your mood with something other than food and see if it goes away. Now, if you're truly hungry, you can do things like minerals and electrolytes, trace minerals, LMNT. You can see if that, because sometimes hunger can be triggered by a mineral imbalance. So you could try those first and see if that changes anything. And if none of those things happen to help you, you can have one of the fasted snacks, like the keto. When I told you how to like make your fast last longer, you could do a fat bomb, you could do MCT oil, you could do a little bit of avocado, you could do a nut butter. You could see if that kind of like helps curb your hunger for a moment. Coffee and tea. So a few hacks are, if you drink some coffee or you drink tea, it can help your fast last a little bit longer. However, there is a big however. I absolutely suggest that the coffee and the tea needs to be organic, pesticide free. If you don't know this, those things, pesticides and chemicals, can affect your blood sugar levels. And so for some of you, this is not the hack that you want to do because it will affect your blood glucose levels, and you don't want that to happen. Detox symptoms. Sometimes there's some detox symptoms that happen as you're fasting and your body's healing. My favorites are all right there. Dry brushing, sweating. You can go to like infrared sauna. You can sweat it out. Lymphatic massages. Rebounding, trampoline, which helps your lymph and move things along. So get on a trampoline and bounce for a little bit. Epsom salt baths. Activated charcoal, because those bind onto toxins and they can help your body get rid of those toxins at the same time. Questions? Great. All right, here we go. How often, Dr. Michael says, fat bombs. How often should you do dinner to dinner? 36-hour, 72-hour fast. Again, you might have said it and I may have missed it. Yep. Let's just go back right here, Amanda. And you can take pictures if you want to. Dinner to dinner. It's great. 1 to 2 days a week. 36-hour fasting. This one right here is if you like 36 hours. because 72 hours is once a month and quarterly. I would say 36 to 48 hours is along that same line where you would do it once a month or quarterly, not both. So I would either choose if you're going to do 36 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours. Usually you'd start with 36 hours, see how long you can go, do that once a month. And then maybe the next month you want to go longer at 48 hours. And then the next month you go longer, 72 hours, or first quarter, 36 hours, second quarter, 48 hours, go longer and longer with that, but don't combine all of them together. Hope this is helpful for you guys. I know there's a couple more questions, so I want to get to those. Will daily supplements or medications break your fast? Yes. Let me just go to medications are a thing, and so are supplements. I am choosing right now not to do my supplements, mainly because I'm just like, I'm actually afraid a little bit, if I'm honest, that I will get like vitamin tummy, vitamin belly, and I could throw up because I don't like to take my supplements on an empty stomach. So right now I'm not. When you're doing regular intermittent fasting, I just time mine to when I eat. So that's when I use my supplements. The same thing with your medications. Now, I cannot tell you what to do with your medications because that's not in my scope of practice, and that you need to consult your doctor for any of those things. However, one of the ones that they've seen things with is you have to get with your doctor to do that. But with thyroid medication, it can respond uniquely to the fasting window. And as you fast, you might actually become more sensitive to your thyroid medication. How you would know that is like if your heart rate starts to increase, or you feel like you're going into, sometimes you know when your thyroid is going into like a storm. If you're doing this, I would recommend taking your medication during your eating window always. So you talk to your doctor to see if you need to move some things because you're going to use intermittent fasting, and seeing if you need to change your medications as well. So I don't recommend stopping your medications. I can't tell you to do any of that, but get with your doctor to do that. Great information, was amazing. Phil, they had to go to TPAC. I wonder what they're seeing. He's got a few questions. Email me, Phil. Chad says, how many calories will officially take your body out of a fasted state? Everybody's a little bit different, and calories are different. So that's why I would suggest, if you want to know what would take you out of a fasted state, Chad, it would be checking your ketones, because everybody is completely different. What would take me out of ketosis would be different than what would take you out of ketosis, which is AKA like a fasted state. That's how you know, is when you get into ketosis. So that's what I would recommend for that, is to get yourself a keto mojo and check your ketones to see what takes you out. That's why continued glucose monitors have become so popular for people, is because in that moment you can see what's taking you out of that fasted state. So if you want to get a continuous glucose monitor, you can. They usually don't recommend to do that forever. It's so that you can start to track to see what takes you out of your fasted state, what raises your blood glucose levels up. And you can do it for 30, 60, 90 days, unless you have like diabetes or something like that, that you would need a continued glucose monitor for. But yeah, that's what I would recommend for that. This is also probably just specific to me, so you don't have to answer it here, but how does this affect pregnancy and postpartum? So I never recommend any long-term fasting for pregnancy or postpartum. That is usually, though, on a case-by-case basis, where right now you're just really working on growing a baby inside of your belly, and not doing it during any type of pregnancy or postpartum, because don't fast or do any of that. You need the fuel to nourish yourself and your baby. So food is your medicine at the moment, not fasting. Also nursing, the the same thing applies. Like you don't want a lot of like detoxing going on in your body while you're nursing, and because those toxins will go into your breast milk. But sometimes the shorter fasts, like the 13 hours, could be good when you go into postpartum and nursing, but nothing longer than that at all. Great question though. I know you're always on top of it and you're like, what can I do? What can I do? Great. Awesome. I love you all. If you have any questions, I will put my email in the comments at Major Family Chiropractic.com. Dr. Cassie at majorfamilychiropractic.com. Let me make sure. Yep. I think that was everything. And if you have any other questions, just reach out. Love you all. Have a great night.